Hello beautiful people, in this video I'm going to show you how to make the multicolored knotted turban. I call it the multicolored knotted turban because I'll be using two different fabrics of different colors. Okay, some call it the sequins knotted turban, but in my own case I'm not using sequins fabric, but I'll show you how the sequins fabric look like. It's actually the same method, the same procedure if you're going to be mixing sequins fabric with other fabric you want to use. Now for this project I'll be using this is raw silk fabric and it is stretchy. I'll be using it to make the turban body and some part of the design, and this is a sample fabric which I'm going to be using for the sequins part. I'll be mixing with this. This is a sample material. Yes, that's what I was told where I got it. So you can use sequins in place of this my own fabric. Let me show you how the sequins fabric looks like. Something like this. This is sequins, and there are other colorful sequins fabric that you can actually use in place of this my own fabric. Start with 1 yard for this one. This is going to be for the body of the turban and part of the design. So just start with 1 yard. Then this one you just need about half a yard. You're not going to finish half a yard. Then you're wording to about half a yard. Now the first set of pieces of fabric that I cut out is for the body of the turban. Okay, the body of the turban, and I have the main body and the band. For the main body I'm using head circumference 23 inches. This is 23 inches by 14 inches. This is the stretchy part of the fabric. That's where I measured out the head circumference part, 23 inches by 14 inches. Please work with your own measurements or your client's head circumference. Now I have my band and 23 inches by 4.5 inches. Now just like we make our regular turban base, I'm going to be joining my band to the body of the turban. So with the right side facing up, this is the right side of the fabric. In place of this my raw silk, you can make use of poly fabric. Poly is like scuba but it's lighter, you understand, so that it won't be too bulky on the head. So I'm going to I'll fold this into two, just like we make our turban base, just the same way. Fold into two, and with the right side of the body of the turban facing up, I'm going to place my band this way. I'm repeating this part because of those who might actually not have any experience in turban making. Okay, so I'm going to join my band to the body of the turban from here to this point. Then I'll keep this aside. Now let's move on to the design. For the design I have two pieces of my raw silk fabric. If you are using poly, then it means you're going out two pieces of your poly fabric. Alright, and the measurement is 12 inches by 10 inches. 12 inches by 10 inches. I have this in two places. So what it means is that this 12 inches part, you're cutting it from the stretchy part of your fabric. This is going to be from the stretchy part of your fabric, while the 10 inches can be from the other side. So please make sure you cut out this 12 inches part from the stretchy part of your fabric. So I have it in two places. For our other fabric, I have it cut out as well, and the measurement is 10 inches by 10 inches. Like I said earlier, you can use sequins. Sequins is actually popularly used for this kind of project, design or form. Use any fabric or choice. So it is 10 inches by 10 inches, and I also call the 10 inches part, this part is the stretchy part of the fabric. This is 10 inches by 10 inches. Now the next step is to cut out some pieces of wording. This part is actually optional. Okay, it is actually optional, but because I'm using a light fabric, I feel it is really required. If you are using poly fabric, you can actually skip this part. You may decide to skip this part. So for each of these pieces, I've cut out wording of the same size, So I'm going to place the sticky part, one that has the glue part. The wording has two sides, the one that has the glue part. So I'm going to be placing the glue part on the wrong side of each of these pieces. This is the right side of this piece, for example, and this is the wrong side. So this sticky part, this part that has glue, I'm going to place it on the wrong side. I'm going to place it on the wrong side like this, and I will use my iron. I just iron it. I just place my hot iron on it to make it stick to my fabrics. Okay, I'm doing this on the 3 pieces. So I've glued my wadding to these pieces of my fabric, and I'm going to be joining them together this way. So this is the one that will stay at the center. This particular one will stay at the center. So I'm going to, this is the right side facing up, as you can see. I'm going to bring this, okay, one will be staying on this side while the other will be staying on this side. So I'm going to bring this like this. The right side of this one is facing up while the right side of this one is facing down. So I'm going to stitch them together. I'll sew from here to here by 1/2 inch. So I'm going to be using my pin to hold it down for the meantime while I explain, before I proceed to sew with my machine. Please note that if you're not going to be using wadding for yours, you can skip this part. Okay, just go ahead and join your fabrics together without we can skip the wadding part, I mean, without adding wadding. Just go ahead and with this procedure without adding your wadding. So now, after sewing, by the time you open it up, this is how it's going to look like. So I come to this other side and I'll place this way, right side facing right side, and I'm going to sew from here to here. Let me use my office pin to hold it down so you can see how it looks like before we proceed. This one to this how it's going to look like when you open it up. So I'm going to, after doing that, I'm now going to fold it this way, and I'm going to sew from one end. I run it down like this to the other end. I hope you understand. After joining the pieces together and it's showing as this, you're going to fold this over this way and sew from here like that all the way down. So I'll do all that and I'll be back to show you the next step. My pieces together, and the same way I explained, I did all I just explained earlier. So I'm going to turn the right side out. I just turn the right side out. Okay, so I've turned it out, as you can see, and I have brought the seam to the center. You're bringing the seam to the center and not to the side. Okay, so by the time you measure, you have about 33 inches all together. By the time I measured this, remember we had our joining, so all this will reduce the total length. Okay, so I'm going to get the center of this my fabric, and I'm going to tie a knot. I tie a knot and I adjust. Just adjust. Make sure that the knot falls on the center. Make sure that the knot falls on the center of this piece. So that's why I'm just trying to adjust. So after tying a knot, the next step is for us to attach it to the body of the turban. So I've joined the body and the band of the turban together, and we're going to place this here. This is going to be standing here. You understand? So just make sure you adjust your knots well, make it fine. So here to here, I'm going to be sewing this to this. You can first of all join this to his, and join this to this part, so that it will be easier when you are flipping over. I mean, when you are continuing with the sewing. So I'll just fold this way. Design the two ends of our design. We're going to join it to this part of the body of the turban, not on the band area. Not on the band area. So move away from the band area like this and join. And please note that the kind of fabric I'm using, phrase, or you take it to a serger to weave the edges before you proceed. Okay, just weave around all the edges before you proceed. But because we need to continue the procedure and this tutorial. I need to just go ahead and finish up the whole procedure. So I am going to join this to this part of the cap, not the band area. Please note, not the band area. So I'm going to join this here. I'll place it here like this with this folded over. So I'm going to join this band, the band to the band. I'm going to join the bands together here. Then I'm going to continue to sew like that. I sew like that, like this. I'll sew from here. I just sew like this up to this point, then continue to sew this way. Make sure that this your design is not on the band area. Move away from the band to join it. I hope you can see what I'm saying. Okay, just in case this part does not go through your sewing machine because of the bulkiness, when you join the band area with your sewing machine, you continue to sew with your machine like this. Then use your needle and thread to secure this part if it cannot pass through your sewing machine. Okay, so as you can see, I've sewn it as I explained, and from here, this is the band area. This is the band area, and I'm going to start sewing my loose stitches. I'll skip the part where I have the design. I'm not going to sew loose stitches from this part. I'll skip that from here, like this way, and I'll back stitch. I'll pull it to form gathers like we normally do. Okay, we just pull it to form gathers like you normally do. Like I said earlier, I'm using a fraying fabric. If you're making it for a client, please weave the edges. Okay, it's very, very important. So I just pull to form gathers, pull to form gathers like this, and I'll tack. So I can just take my needle and thread backwards to secure it properly. All right, so I'm going to just turn this inside out, and look at what we have. This is our cap. You can leave it this way. You just put on your cap and bring the design to the center. Yes, or you tack it down. Depends on what you or your client wants. You can just tack it down. Just use your needle and thread to tack it down neatly from under, or use your gum, but it's always better to tack. Just tack it down like that if you want to, if you don't want to leave it that way. So this is how it looks like. I'm going to show you the finished look like now on my mannequin head.
We're gonna keep it low key, keep it softly spoken, with no strings tying you to me. I'm happy in your company with no emotion, 'cause my love